I just wanted help with the mortgage. My grandmother had left me the duplex when she passed, a humble little place in Oregon with creaky wood floors, ivy creeping up the front, and just enough charm to keep me from selling. I lived in one unit and decided to rent out the other. Victor answered my Craigslist ad within hours. He was in his mid-40s, soft-spoken, polite. Said he traveled for work as a technician, always on the road, barely home. Perfect. He handed me 3 months' rent in cash and moved in that same week with nothing but a duffel bag. It struck me as odd, sure, but I chalked it up to minimalism. Some people just live light. He was quiet, too quiet maybe, came and went at weird hours. Sometimes I'd hear the door creak open at 3 a.m., then silence. Never any guests, no loud music, no sounds of a TV. It was like living next to a ghost. But rent was on time, and I didn't want to question a good thing. Then the smell started. At first, I thought something had died in the walls. It was faint, wet cardboard, old copper, mildew. It came and went, but each time it was stronger. I aired out the house, lit candles. It wasn't coming from my side. One afternoon, when we crossed paths at the mailbox, I mentioned it. Victor said, "Probably the fridge. I've been meaning to clean it." 2 days later, the smell was gone, like it had never existed. I remember thinking maybe he was telling the truth. Then my dog started acting weird. He's an old rescue mutt, easygoing, lazy, barely barks. But now he would sit outside the attic crawlspace door, the one that connected both units, and whine. Just stare at it, pawing occasionally. One night he barked so loud I thought someone had broken in. But the door was still latched, jammed shut from the inside like it always had been. Nothing seemed off. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling something was wrong. Then Victor vanished. No notice, no rent, no more lights behind the curtain, no car in the driveway. It was like he had been erased. I waited a few days, knocked on the door. No answer. Finally, I used the emergency key. What I found made my stomach turn. There was no furniture. No bed, no table, not even a chair. The place was cold, the windows covered in thick blackout curtains. But the real shock was what covered the floors and walls. Boxes, neatly stacked, labeled and sealed. Each box had a name. All women, first and last. Some I recognized immediately. Names from news stories, missing persons posters I'd seen years ago. Inside each box were personal effects, photos, receipts, bus tickets, journals, locks of hair, clothing. Bits of lives that should never have been in a stranger's possession. It wasn't messy, it was meticulous, catalogued, obsessive. In the bedroom closet, taped to the inside wall, was a photo of me, watering my garden, taken from behind. I hadn't noticed anyone. I hadn't seen a flash. It looked recent. I backed out of the apartment and called the police. The investigation began immediately. Forensics came in. They took everything. Victor didn't exist. The ID he gave me was fake. The phone number, disconnected. The email, a burner. He'd left behind no fingerprints, no trail. Whoever he was practiced. Detectives told me that several of the women whose names were on the boxes had gone missing. Others had filed stalking complaints. There was no clear pattern. They were from different cities, different walks of life. But he had tracked them all, followed them, collected their lives piece by piece. One box had a name that, really stood out to me. A girl named Rachel who had disappeared from a town less than an hour away. Her case had made headlines, you know. Her box included school ID cards, movie ticket stubs, and a small plush toy that her family had said was missing with her. The detectives went quiet when they saw it. They think he was a collector, that he moved from city to city, assumed different identities, and followed women for months, watching, documenting. But to what end? No one knows. He hadn't harmed me. But that photo of me in the closet, it meant I was part of the collection now. The attic door, the one my dog kept whining at, was sealed shut, but eventually officers got it open. It connected both units, just as I suspected. Inside they found more boxes, older ones, some rotting with age, and a journal. Only one line was readable, written over and over again on the final page. I watch what no one sees. The case remains open. His face, what little we have from blurry hallway cams, was run through databases. Nothing, not even a hit on facial recognition. I replaced the locks, installed cameras, and got a second dog. But I still wake up some nights and stare at the closet. Because whoever Victor was, if that was even his name, he planned to disappear, to erase himself. And he did. I just can't stop wondering if I was supposed to be the next name on a box. It was routine. Every Friday I drove from my college in Flagstaff to Phoenix to visit family and unwind from the week. The drive was 3 hours through empty desert highways, so I usually posted on the rideshare board to split gas. That weekend, 2 people responded: Josh, a laid-back environmental science major, and Elena, an art student I barely knew. We met in the dorm parking lot around 5 p.m. I remember Elena had a red backpack and a sketch pad, and Josh was finishing a burrito. The weather was warm, sky a pale orange as the sun dipped low. We packed up our bags, did the quick head count, 3 of us, and started down the I-17. About halfway into the drive, we stopped at one of those desolate rest areas. Just a cracked concrete lot, a couple of flickering vending machines, and a bathroom with buzzing lights. The desert wind was strong, and the place gave off that weird liminal feeling like it didn't belong to any time. There was a 4th bag. When we got back to the car, Elena was quiet. "What?" Elena said. "I saw it before we went inside. There were 4 bags back here." I counted again. 3. "You probably saw Josh's jacket or something." She didn't say anything, just buckled her seatbelt and stared out the window. The car felt quieter now, heavier. I turned the music up, trying to shake the weirdness. "Did one of you put a hoodie over the headrest?" 20 minutes later, Josh leaned forward from the back seat. "No, why?" "It looked like someone was behind you, like hunched over, but it's gone now." I laughed nervously, my eyes darting to the rear view. "Just headrests and shadows. You guys are messing with me." We pulled over to stretch our legs and checked the car again. That's when we found it, a black canvas backpack wedged between the seats. None of us had noticed it before. "Seriously, is this yours?" Josh and Elena shook their heads. It was plain, unmarked, no logos. I unzipped it. Inside was a disposable camera, a spiral-bound notebook filled with travel logs, and one Polaroid photo. We all stared at it. The image showed 3 people sitting in a car, my car. The back seat had the same tear in the fabric, the same stickers on the dashboard, but the people in the photo weren't us. The driver's face was a smudge, like it had been wiped clean. The 2 in the back smiled wide, unnaturally wide, like mannequins posed for a catalogue. No one said a word. I closed the backpack and threw it into the desert brush. We got back in the car and drove in silence. Back on the road, the vibe had completely changed. The air inside the car felt thick, like we were underwater. No one spoke. Elena stared out her window the whole time, lips pressed tight. Josh looked like he wanted to say something but kept changing his mind. "Do you remember who got in first?" About an hour later, as we approached the outskirts of Phoenix, Elena finally spoke. "What? Back at the parking lot, when we left campus? Who got in first?" I thought about it. I couldn't remember. "I think I did, but I'm not sure now. What if there was someone else with us the whole time and we just forgot?" Elena looked at me, her face pale in the passing streetlights. The idea made my skin crawl. We dropped them off at their stops, barely saying goodbye. I went home, locked the door, and just sat on the floor with all the lights on. Later that night, I remembered something. A strange line from the notebook in that backpack. Scrawled between coordinates and odd dates, one phrase repeated. They never remember the first time. But the second time, they always do. It kept echoing in my mind. What did it mean? I didn't carpool again after that. No more ride shares, no more Craigslist passengers. I took that drive alone for the rest of the semester. A month later, I moved to a different apartment in Tempe, a fresh start. I didn't tell anyone the new address except close friends. Then one morning, I opened the front door to grab my coffee delivery, and there it was. The same black canvas backpack. No note, no explanation. Just waiting. I didn't open it. I took it to the nearest dumpster and dumped it without a word. But I haven't driven at night since, and every time I glance in my rearview mirror, I still check for a 4th passenger.